I wanted to talk about, we were just talking about Amber Heard and stuff like that. Now, this isn't the first time there's been a big movement to remove somebody, like the cancel culture and stuff like that.
Oh, no, this isn't.
So, I was thinking about this while we were having this conversation. I know we didn't talk about this before, but I have to ask, at what point do we just look at people like, okay, you're vindicated? You know what I'm saying? At what point was it okay for Michael Vick to come back to the NFL?
Never.
At what point was it okay for, who was the one that beat up, I forget the name of that singer, or Chris Brown, right? When he, I think it was Rihanna. Like, okay, you say never, but is there ever a point where you can say, okay, the punishment's enough?
I think it depends on, well, okay, so here's the thing about Hollywood, I think, in general, and I think fame, is it's fickle anyway. So people forget things really fast because the next big thing comes up. So Michael Vick, sorry. Michael Vick. Michael Vick went to prison for that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was completely out of the limelight because he's in prison, which actually was the best thing for him because nobody after a certain point, nobody remembers.
Well, and then he came out and he did a bunch of charity work.
Sure. You have to,
and you
have to do that, and you have to do that. He's a monster. Michael Vick is a monster. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he deserves to just disappear into the ether. He is a monster.
I think my struggle is cancel culture. Right? I hate the idea of, I don't like what this person does, I don't like what they say, so I think we should just eradicate them from every platform, everything, and I don't want to fall into that same trap just because somebody did something, and even though he did his time, he did a bunch of charity work and stuff to try and make up for it. Is there a point where we can say...
No, I think it depends on what it is.
Well, but I think that once you pay your debt to society, you have to be able to be given a second chance.
I think it depends on what it is.
Yes, but...
Yeah, are you thinking like a forgive but don't forget kind of thing? Or just don't forgive and don't forget?
Like with Michael Vick, I don't think he should... I think there should still be guidelines. He's obviously paid his debt to society.
Sure, yes.
He has went to prison.
Yes.
He did his rehab. He did his... all of that, right?
Yeah.
He should never be able to own another pet.
Oh, sure.
For his entire life.
Sure.
So there should be rules or regulations following him. However, he did pay his debt to society by going to jail.
My issue with the whole cancel culture is that it's not based on fact or anything. Like, it's based purely on emotion. We'll take the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. There's no actual evidence that he was beating her. There's a whole bunch of evidence that she was beating him. And yet, because she was the one who came out first, and it got sensationalized, to this day, there are people defending her. Like, oh, well, I believe her, I believe her, I believe her. Why? Because all women need to be believed. But she's obviously lying. Like, she's obviously lying, damaging the whole thing about all women being believed, damaging, frankly, every victim of physical abuse. She is spitting in their faces, but just because of whatever reason you're going to believe it. And he is being punished for something that it doesn't seem like it's true.
Right.
That's my issue with cancel culture. Now, the idea of, okay, this person did a horrible thing, did the horrible thing, paid their debt to society, but should never be in a position where they are looked up to ever again. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you know what, Michael Vick, he paid his debt to society, he did his prison time, he got out and did all that, charity stuff with the animals, which, whatever. But that doesn't give him a pass. Mm-hmm. You don't get the, okay, we're good. You can be famous and make millions again. No! I don't want my kids, well, my kids aren't going to because they're not football kids, but I don't want any kid to look up to this person at any moment. I want him to just go live his life.
I think the one that drives me nuts was Chris Brown. Because Chris Brown basically beat her up in the limo.
Oh, beat the shit out of her.
You had photographers right there capturing it, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And he still gets to release an album, and he still goes to number one. He's in the top 40s. He's on all that stuff.
I don't think he has gone to number one in a long time. But I get your point.
But he still gets to do all that.
And I don't think that's okay.
So I think you're right. I think it depends on what it is. Like Chris Brown, I'm never going to forgive that guy.
Nope.
Michael Vick, you give some time, some compensation. You did some time in prison. I mean, it's part of my belief system that I have to believe in forgiveness and not judging people, to a certain degree. So I struggle with that one because, he is a monster, and I don't want to, but on the flip side, the NFL is a private organization. It's a private team. When they rehired him, and they brought him back, I mean, who am I? I could say I'm not going to watch, but the truth is I don't watch anyways.
Good point.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, what are you going to do?
Okay.
So that's pretty much what the basis of my question is. At what point, I mean, I guess you're right. It just depends
It's case
on what
by
it
case.
is. It's case by case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, okay, I'll give you an extreme example. Okay? Actually, might not be that extreme. It's probably happened a few times. So let's say, I'm not going to use a name just in case, because I don't want to upset anybody, but let's say a professional athlete brutally rapes a woman. And through some horrific circumstance, ends up only getting like 5 years for it. And then when he gets out, well, he's paid his debt to society and he can just go back to being a pro athlete again?
No.
Because he should have his penis cut off and he should be
Right?
executed.
So, it depends on the situation.
There's
enough.
got to be consequences for his action. Long-term consequences.
Yes, I
And so,
agree.
yes, he paid his debt to society. He went to prison for a measly 5 years.
Yeah.
However, in 5 years, is that woman
I don't think Michael
healed?
Vick actually went to prison for long enough. Like, it wasn't like he just, like, walked up and shot a dog in the head.
Right.
Like, this was brutal and sick.
And multiple.
And multiple times.
So.
Had those been people, he would have gone away for the rest of his life.
Maybe executed, depending on the state.
Maybe executed depending on the state. This is California. But, now, don't get me wrong,
We
I'm
don't
not...
execute people here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we talk about it. We talk about death row, but they just stay there
Don't
until they
get
die
me
of
wrong.
natural
I'm
causes.
not one of these,
Yeah.
like, animals should be treated like people, and no, I'm not one of those people. I love animals, in a normal, healthy way, like most people should, but he murdered multiple dogs.
And we're back. Hey, so the last podcast we did, first of all, if you listen to it, I'm sorry for the sound quality. This one will be much better.
His fault.
It's my fault. As you can see, I got a new mic, new equipment.
New mic, new equipment. I'm wearing the same sweater.
Yes, it's almost like give us a mulligan. I hope that wasn't your first podcast you ever listened to, because it probably did not have a good impression. But by all means, give us another chance.
Try again.
So the conversation we were having last time is we were talking about the election, we were talking about
Yes.
stuff, and we said, look, there's stuff that looks like it might be fraud, there's stuff that seems improbable but not impossible.
Sure.
That raises the question, but now since then, there's been some more stuff that comes out which has made me start to believe that there would actually be enough fraud
To make a difference.
to flip a state.
Yeah, it does look more and more like some of the states, and I think the last time I looked, I think Pennsylvania is like, it's only like 10,000 votes difference. And there's a lot of stuff going on. Some stuff has been
Georgia's
kinda,
really close as well. Michigan's pretty close.
Yes, Georgia's
Arizona's really close.
Well, so realistically,
Yeah.
if Georgia and Pennsylvania, those two by themselves could make the difference. Because now, what is the actual count? The last thing I looked at, it had Biden at like 303 electoral votes, which is 33 more than needed to win. If that's the case, well, Georgia and Pennsylvania, that's 31 votes between the two of them. Mm-hmm. So if that 303 isn't accurate, which it probably isn't, because that's the projection by by the Associated Press, then just those two states alone could make the difference. And are we still waiting on Nevada?
Yeah, I don't
What
know.
the hell? You literally, Nevada, all you do is count. You count money, you count more money. That's all you do, and you can't count votes.
This is exactly what we're saying would
Jesus.
happen, though.
we need
Yes.
to send Big Bird to Nevada
Need
to
to send
help
Big
us
Bird to Nevada.
count.
Yes, Big Bird can help
Yes.
us out. No, but this is exactly what we said. We said they want mail-in ballots.
We can send the count.
The count!
You can
Yes,
send
the
the
count!
Sorry, couldn't help it.
Can we refocus? Can we refocus?
Refocusing.
So that's exactly what we're saying, though. They want mail-in ballots because it opens up the possibility for fraud. And we said, look, they're just going to drag this out. They're going to drag it out. This is what a lot of conservative commentators are saying. And sure enough, that's what happened. Oh, we're going to stop counting. We're just going to keep counting and keep going. And we're just going to keep going. This is one of the lawsuits in Pennsylvania because their own laws say that any ballot received by officials after 8 p.m. on that Tuesday cannot be counted.
And one of their state
Correct.
Supreme Court judges said no, you can go ahead and count them after 8 o'clock. Now that one I see actually going to the Supreme Court. That one's going to go to the Supreme Court.
Well, they violated their own law.
Yes, they violated. Yes,
Their state Supreme Court cannot overturn their own law.
Yes.
And
they
then
can't
just
overturn
said-
their own.
And they also start changing the rules last minute, saying, "Well, if it was postmarked before that time, we're going to count it as well."
Right.
And then there's a sworn affidavit.
Now that one, there's an argument for though.
Yeah, and there's a sworn affidavit about somebody saying, "Well, no, I was encouraged to predate and predate ballots, and Yeah, you didn't see this?
No, I must have missed that one.
So there's a USPS guy that came out as a whistleblower and said, no, I was encouraged and I saw them other people doing it.
Okay, yeah.
You changed the dates on the postmarking to predate the election.
Well, there's a lot of hinky stuff.
But he also came back and said, I was just kidding.
That's
So,
true.
dude.
I think it was the same guy.
Yeah, I
that
think it was the
like,
same
I'm
guy.
just kidding. But I'm pretty sure the Clintons had something to do
Oh,
with
yeah,
that.
that's maybe. But the interesting one is Michigan. Because Michigan, they come out with 131 sworn affidavits and counting. And the reason why this is interesting is this. If in Michigan, if you sign a sworn affidavit, right? If you said, this is my statement, this is what I saw, this is what I witnessed, blah, 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 blah. And there's a big variety of different things that were going on, including ballots that they said were counted multiple times, ballots that didn't have the proper witness signatures, didn't have the proper, stuff that should have been thrown out that wasn't. Okay, if you, there's tons of it. But here's the thing, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. If you sign that sworn affidavit, and it turns out you're lying, you're actually charged with a felony in Michigan.
Nice.
So these guys aren't just, this isn't just 131 Trump supporters who just want to, stir the pot.
Right.
Okay, these are people who are actually risking their right to vote, risking their right to bear arms. They're risking, they're going to see prison time.
Sure.
By signing these affidavits and have 131 different individuals come out, that's something.
Yeah.
That's not something we can just ignore.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of hinky stuff going on. There's the Georgia. Is it the
Georgia's the one that they asked for a recount. Their state.
What state was it where their attorney general just got arrested for election fraud?
Oh, I don't know. You're gonna have to look that one up. I know their attorney general in Florida they're having problems with because they asked for a recount. Their legislature asked for a recount, and he said no, we're not going to recount. And so the Republicans in the legislature were like, yes, we are, and you should probably step down before we make you step down.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
So subscribe.
And
is our point.
Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
It'll make you a better person.
It will.
It will.
It will.